As my coverage of Spider-Man draws to a close, well until the DLC at least, I'm still stumbling across some crazy examples of attention to detail in this game. Today I want to highlight 5 more pretty cool details in what is currently my game of the year. So without further delay, let's get started.
That totally worked last time.
Something I loved about this game is the transformation of Otto Octavius into Dr. Octopus. Around the halfway point I was certain he wasn't going to become Doc Ock and they would save it for the sequel. That's how good they handled his move to the dark side. Saying that, eagle-eyed players could spot the Doc's descent into madness from the very beginning. In Octavius's lab you could find a whiteboard which at the start of the game is completely blank, but as the story progresses that changes. Take a look.
Wait, is this the raft? Are you doing work for the Supermax prison?
Indeed. They're soliciting bids to modernize their security grid. Figured I'd try my hand. Lucrative contract, and a satisfyingly difficult nut to crack.
So towards the end of the game, the whiteboard contains details on the raft prison, structural weaknesses and even prices which seem to be related to the cost of upgrades. As we know, Octavius upgraded all of the equipment of the supervillains he released. Once Octavius's motives have been revealed, if you take a look at the whiteboard again, his intentions are there for all to see.
He was planning this right under my nose. Was it just an idea in his head until the interface pushed him over the edge? How long was he using the device before I realized?
I loved this little detail, and I also loved how it wasn't front and centre and rewarded exploration. Good work, Insomniac. Onto something a little less complicated but still cool is the fact that when Peter receives a call on his phone, the phone screen actually displays the person who calls.
Hope Mr. Lee's okay. Hello?
Hey, did you see my story?
I did.
Okay, so this isn't the same level as the subtle Dr. Octopus plans, but it's still a great attention to detail. Now this is the detail that I'd wager 99% of people hadn't noticed, and it's because Insomniac created such a brilliant web swinging system. Around halfway through the game, Sable and her troops declare Spidey as target number 1. This makes moving through the city extremely difficult, and you might want to resort to using the game's fast travel system to avoid any trouble. Well, if you do, Spidey can't sit on the subway. He's a wanted man after all. To reflect this, Insomniac created a couple of unique fast travel scenes for this specific part of the game. Again, this wasn't really necessary. I'm not sure people would even notice if Spidey just sat on the subway like he normally does, but Insomniac took that extra step when creating this game. Oh, and by the way, I made a video of all the fast travel scenes in this game, so if you want to see that, check out my channel. This next detail makes a lot of sense. It should work this way, but I smiled to myself when I checked to see if it did work that way. When you encounter Mr. Negative, if you go into photo mode and add the negative filter, it will look like Martin Lee. As I said, I know it should happen, but it's still pretty cool that it actually does. Finally, a detail that I haven't really seen mentioned anywhere is the level of detail in the shoes of Spider-Man's punk suit. Okay, now hear me out, I'm not talking about a standard sole. The soles on these shoes when put together actually form Spider-Man's mask. Listen, it's not groundbreaking, but to even model the shoes to this level must have taken way longer than necessary, and only people like me who pay way too much attention to stuff like this would even notice. So that's it, 5 details in Spider-Man. If you enjoyed this video, then a like is really appreciated. If you're a fan of Easter eggs, secrets and details in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.